Good evening, I am Jarvis Barnwick, your VA1 Major News Package for today, Friday 30th August 2019. In our lead stories nationally, National Assembly Elections Amendment Bill is one of 7 bills to be presented in the National Assembly on September 3rd, and church leaders receive instruments to serve as school chaplains for a coming school year. Regionally, Dominica's Prime Minister promises report on CBI funds, opposition leader calls for forensic investigation. Internationally, U.S. nurse forced to help with abortion deal. And in sports, SKM Patriots beat Premiers 11 by 1 run in practice match on Thursday. We'll have the details for these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, Vaughan.
Welcome back and now on to the national news in detail. 7 bills will be presented in the National Assembly on Tuesday, September 3rd, when Parliament convenes in St. Kitts at 10 a.m. at the National Assembly Chambers Government Headquarters in Bastille. One of which is the National Assembly Elections Amendment Bill. The bill had its first reading on March 28, 2018. The National Assembly Elections Amendment Bill 2017 seeks to amend Section 37A, replacing the expression ordinarily resident on the registration date with the words ordinarily resident for at least 6 months before the registration date. During the sitting, Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr. will move the second reading of the bill. The Attorney General will also seek leave to have read a first-time Courts of Justice Fees Bill 2019. Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris will seek leave to introduce and have read a first-time Non-Governmental Organizations Amendment Bill 2019. The Prime Minister will have read a second time Limited Partnerships Amendment Bill 2019, Trusts Amendment Bill 2019, Companies Amendment Bill 2019, and Money Services Business Amendment Bill 2019. At a retreat at the Sugar Bay Club Conference Room in St. Kitts, around 25 church leaders from St. Kitts and Nevis received their instruments of appointment for the National School Chaplaincy Program NSCP on Thursday, August 29th. NSCP is an initiative of the Ministry of Ecclesiastical Affairs that provides support for students, teachers, and parents in personal, moral, emotional, and spiritual development matters. Present at the ceremony was Senior Minister and Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, the Honorable Vance Amory.
The church has been seen and as the last resort. Only when something distressful happens, we turn to the church as the go-to. Is it too late? Never too late. But our approach must be that we will seek through the involvement of pastors in the chaplaincy program in our school system and interacting through the teachers, with the teachers, to the homes, that we can change the direction.
The Ecclesiastical Affairs Minister mentioned that the things of God must remain in the schools.
One time, we had the difficulty of teachers saying that we don't want assembly in our schools. Assembly is a waste of time. And I remember going to the staff room when we had the meeting shortly after I'd heard that kind of comment from leaders, senior teachers, graduates, and said to them in that meeting, there will be no debate on the matter. I was affirming one thing, that we will not discuss the removal of the things of God and spiritual things from our schools.
Senior Minister and Minister of Ecclesiastical Affairs, the Honorable Vance Amory. The new school year begins on Monday, September 2nd, 2019. as participants, patrons of Culturama 45 and the entire general public await an announcement date for the closing and prize-giving ceremony. The contestants and participants can look forward to an improvement in prizes. The disclosure comes from Executive Director of the Culturama Secretariat, Mr. Antonio Abernathy Liburd.
We are working this year to get some good prizes for our participants. And in the past, we focused mainly on giving them cash, but we want to give some gift items and give more gift items this year.
Mr. Antonio Abernathy Liburd. This development comes as Mr. Liburd, speaking to the VOA Newsline on Thursday, August 29th, indicated that the committee is still procuring the funds from the various events. He also indicated at the time that they cannot give a definite date as to the holding of the closing and prize-giving ceremony, which was originally slated for Saturday, August 24th. His announcement also comes following an announcement of Minister of Culture here on Nevis, the Honorable Eric Evelyn, of an increase of prize monies for the various contests and pageants for Culturama 45. Ebola is a highly contagious virus that causes a rare but severe and often fatal illness in humans. The time interval from infection to onset of symptoms ranges from 2 to 21 days. Infected individuals experience general symptoms such as fever, fatigue, muscle pain, and headache. On Wednesday, 17th July, there was an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, and was declared a public health emergency of international PHEIC concern by the Director General of the World Health Organization, WHO. There have never been any recorded cases here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but citizens and residents continue to be cautioned by the Ministry of Health here in the Twin Island Federation, who has been taking the necessary precautionary measures as there has been an outbreak of the virus. Chief Medical Officer here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Hazel Laws, in an interview with the VOA Newsline, indicated that the incidence of Ebola in the Caribbean is low.
Based on the communication that we received from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, we are in a low and extremely low risk zone. So in other words, the risk of Ebola virus reaching the shores of the Caribbean is extremely low. And the reason for this is the World Health Organization has mounted a very good response to the outbreak that is taking place in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And persons living in the hot spots, they have to be medically checked, etc., before they move across borders. And so the risk of a case reaching our shores for now is extremely low. However, it's not impossible.
In October 2014, St. Kitts and Nevis developed an Ebola virus disease preparedness response and recovery plan and joined a number of countries in the region to place a ban on people traveling from Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea as a precaution against the deadly Ebola virus. Dr. Laws expressed that the St. Kitts and Nevis government, along with the Ministry of Health, is doing all in its power to attain the highest level of preparedness and updating the 2014 plan in the eventuality of a case showing up at one of the ports of entry.
This plan is really guiding our preparedness efforts. So for example, there is an Ebola virus disease working group or committee of persons who really meet to really guide the Federation's preparedness activities. And so we have had 2 meetings already, and so action is being taken locally to ensure that we attain the highest level of preparedness, just in case somebody shows up at the airport or the seaport and this person may be a suspected or a probable case of Ebola virus. We should be, or we will be, in a state of readiness for such.
Chief Medical Officer here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Hazel Laws. The Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARPHA, in July 2019 urged member states to enhance disease surveillance at ports of entry and at health facilities following the categorization of the current outbreak of the Ebola virus in DR Congo as a public health emergency. According to WHO, that's actually WHO's Ebola dashboard, the outbreak now totals 2,671 cases and 1,782 deaths. As the 2019 academic school year begins on Monday, September 2nd, a number of students across St. Kitts and Nevis received scholarships as they start term 1 of the school calendar year. 8 students from 8 secondary schools were today, Friday 30th August, awarded with the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla Trading and Development Company TDC Warren C. Tyson Memorial Scholarship. The ceremony was held at the TDC Training Room on 4th Street in Bastia at 10 a.m. The 8 are Earl Jeffers, Charleston Secondary School, Sasha Brown, Gingerland Secondary School, Sanika Hull, Bastia High School, Shaniqua Edmead, Keon High School, Kylan Morton, Charles E. Mills Secondary School, Janissa Taylor, Sadler Secondary School, Jace Green, Vercharles High School, and Destiny Paris, Washington Archibald High School. According to the company's website, the program is designed to assist and support the students entering the secondary schools across St. Kitts and Nevis, and noted that students are eligible to receive financial assistance throughout their secondary and tertiary school tenures. They are also afforded the opportunity to work at TDC during their vacations as well as on Saturdays, which helps them to develop socially and professionally. Since its inception, approximately 150 students have gone through the program. Meanwhile, 8 individuals were also presented with the TDC Services Academic Excellence Award in the persons of Natalie Providence and Alyssa Gage of Nevis, and Sadija Marsham, Collis Duke, Zalika Liebert, Juvicia Finch, and Kimona Vera, as well as Sikwani Kiri of St. Kitts. Meantime, 2 individuals here in St. Kitts and Nevis are the beneficiaries of the TDC Group of Companies Michael L. King Scholarship Grant 2019. This year's recipients are Miss Candicia Liebert and Miss Charis McCoy. They were presented with the scholarship at the 12th award ceremony held on Friday, 23rd August. They will receive funding for 1 calendar year in the amount of $5,000 towards necessary school fees. The scholarship is presented to citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis who are normally resident in the Federation and intend to return after completing their course of study, or persons who have been accepted to pursue full-time university-level studies or who are already pursuing studies at the undergraduate level. The scholarship is intended to assist students who are desirous of pursuing full-time university studies at the undergraduate level in areas which include, but are not limited to, agriculture, architecture, accounting, business management, construction management, economics, engineering, information technology, and pharmacology. Studies in the areas of medicine and law are not included. The Ministry of Education is proud of the legacy of the 2018-2019 school year, so said Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education, Daryl Lloyd. He made that remark during the opening ceremony of the Ministry's annual summer workshops on Monday, August 26th, which were held under the theme, Education for All, Embracing Change, Securing the Future. In speaking to the teachers and staff of the Ministry of Education, he said that the academic year 2018-2019 was a tremendous school year. The ceremony also featured teachers, principals, and other invited guests. And lastly, in our national news segment, Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, will host his monthly press conference on Thursday, September 5th. It will be held in the Cabinet Room, Premier's Ministry Social Security Building at Pinny's Estate, Nevis. The conference will commence at 10 a.m. and at the forum, the Premier will seek to update citizens and residents of the Federation on matters of national interest. Members of the media will also be afforded the opportunity to ask questions for the listening and viewing public. It will be carried live here on Von Radio at 8:60 a.m. as well as vonradio.com. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com, or you can check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right. The Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for two, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family to swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back and now on to the regional news. Out of Dominica, prompted by the nagging persistence of an opposition-mounted Where the Money campaign, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, has indicated that he has asked accounting officers to prepare a detailed report on the revenue generated under the Dominica Citizenship by Investment CBI program for the 2018-2019 financial year. The disclosure by the leader of the opposition, Lennox Linton, of a 2019-2020 budget shortfall of over $1 billion in relation to funds generated under the CBI program has resulted in much criticism of the Prime Minister and rising opposition demands for him to give a proper accounting of monies raised by the CBI program during the 2018-2019 financial year. Skerrit argues that the figure of $1.2 billion makes absolutely no sense. Opposition leader Mr. Linton agrees that $1.2 billion is a lot of money, but points out that in recent years, the government has reported sales of $500 million from the CBI program. In an interview on Carry FM radio on Thursday, August 8th, Prime Minister Skerrit revealed that most of the CBI funds during the financial year 2018-2019 were obtained under another component of the CBI program called the housing option, which he described as Dominica's premier CBI option at the moment. However, Mr. Linton insists that Skerrit's admission in the Carry FM interview that if the money collected under the housing option of the CBI program had been included in the 2018-2019 estimates, the budget would be $2.2 billion, shows that the Prime Minister is admitting that $1.2 billion is under his private control, according to DominicaNewsOnline.com. Mr. Linton maintains that at this stage of the game, only a full-scale forensic investigation and a forensic analysis and accounting for these monies will suffice. Out of Trinidad and Tobago, I do not roll over easily, that has been my mantra, so said Port of Spain South MP Marlon McDonald at her Piccadilly Street constituency office yesterday morning. According to TrinidadExpress.com, Ms. McDonald, the fired public administration officer, also thanked constituents and other citizens for their outpouring of support during the one-week setback. On August 12th, McDonald, who was charged with misbehavior in public office, was granted bail in the amount of $2 million. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley stripped McDonald of her position as PNM Deputy Political Leader on August 13th. Although she was not seeing members of the public yesterday, McDonald and her staff were preparing for a back-to-school bag distribution for over 100 children at her constituency office at 10 a.m. today. In Tortola, BVI, the Road Town Police Station has suffered the adverse effects of Hurricane Dorian, which hit the territory on Wednesday, August 28th. Commissioner of Police Michael Matthews, however, said his officers were still able to perform their duty despite the unforeseen circumstances. He added that the Road Town station suffered flooding, making life challenging and uncomfortable, but police officers stuck to the task in hand, and overall the planning and execution of their response was successful. The top cop also said an unspecified number of persons were arrested during the curfew period in the country at the time of Hurricane Dorian that was enforced as the storm passed through the territory. He, however, assured that none of the offenses was of a serious nature. And out of Jamaica, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, is reporting an estimated 1% first quarter fiscal year growth for April to June 2019. Director General Dr. Wayne Henry says the outturn buoyed primarily by a 1.4% expansion of the services industry, extends Jamaica's growth trend to 18 consecutive quarters or 4.5 years, despite the overall flat performance in the goods-producing industry. And that's it for our regional news segment. Stay with us for news around the world. Welcome back and now on to the international news. The U.S. government has accused a hospital in Vermont of violating the civil rights of a nurse by forcing her to help carry out an abortion. The nurse, who has not been named, said she told the hospital that she could not take part in pregnancy terminations because of her religious beliefs. Health workers are protected under federal law from discrimination based on their religious or moral beliefs. The University of Vermont Medical Center, UVMC, denies the allegations. According to a complaint filed by the nurse's lawyers, she was at first misled about the nature of the procedure to believe it was related to a miscarriage. When she was told it was an abortion, she asked if another member of staff could assist, but her request was refused. She reluctantly took part in the procedure and has been haunted by nightmares ever since, the complaint says. The incident took place in 2017 and the nurse, who is a Catholic, no longer works at the hospital. This is the first action of its kind since the department created a Conscience and Religious Freedom Division last year. The Trump administration has supported religious freedom measures. A genetic analysis of almost 500,000 people has concluded there is no single gay gene. The study, published in Science, used data from the UK Biobank and 23andMe and found some genetic variants associated with same-sex relationships. However, genetic factors accounted for at most 25% of same-sex behavior. Advocacy group GLAD said the study confirmed no conclusive degree to which nature or nurture influenced how a gay or lesbian person behaves. The researchers scanned the genomes, the entire genetic makeup of 409,000 people signed up to the UK Biobank project and 68,500 registered with the genetics company 23andMe. Participants were also asked whether they had same-sex partners exclusively or as well as opposite-sex partners. The Harvard and MIT researchers concluded genetics could account for between 8 and 25% of same-sex behavior across the population when the whole genome is considered, based on an article from the BBC. 5 specific genetic variants were found to be particularly associated with same-sex behavior, including one linked to the biological pathway for smell and others to those for sex hormones, but together they only accounted for less than 1% of same-sex behavior. Several prominent Hong Kong democracy activists have been arrested in less than 24 hours amid a police crackdown. Joshua Wong and Agnes Chow of the political party Demosisto were arrested today for illegally organizing a protest before being released on bail. Independence campaigner Andy Chan was arrested at the airport on Thursday while trying to fly to Japan. Demonstrations against the now suspended extradition bill have since turned into wider demands for more autonomy in the former British colony. There are among 900 people arrested since protests began in June. Mr. Wong said he would not be intimidated by the authorities.
Even I've been jailed for 3 times, and I need to face a trial on 8th of November, which means 3 months later. But we still keep on our fight. We shall not surrender. And I urge international communities could send a clear message to President Xi. Sending troops or using emergency ordinance is not the way out.
And Germany has enforced 2 decrees to help families of people who fled the Nazis to take up German citizenship after a challenge by British descendants of Jewish refugees. Although anyone deprived of citizenship by the Nazis is entitled to have it restored, hundreds of applicants have fallen foul of exemptions in the law. Germany's Interior Minister said it had to live up to its responsibilities. More from the BBC's Jenny Hill.
As the Nazi regime tightened its murderous grip on Europe in the 1940s, those who fled persecution in Germany were stripped of their citizenship. Under modern German law, they and their descendants have the automatic right to reclaim it. Today, Germany's Interior Minister announced that the right to citizenship would be extended to cover a number of different circumstances. Horst Seehofer said he considered it a great proof of trust that the descendants of those persecuted by the Nazis wanted to reclaim their German citizenship.
That brings us to the end of our news segment. The latest in sports is next.
TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis, your one-stop shop for all your school supply needs. Get bundle savings on backpack and computer packages, but save 20% off all back-to-school materials and printers. Back-to-school shopping is made easy at TDC Business Center and City Drugstore Nevis. See stores for details.
Welcome back and now on to the sports. In cricket, SKN Patriots beat the Premiers 11 by 1 run in their practice match at the ETW Park on Thursday. The scores were as follows: SKN Patriots won 27 for 7 in 20 overs, Carlos Brathwaite 45, Kenwan Kotoy 18, Riyad Emrit 17, Evan Lewis 16, Dominic Drakes 13 not out. Elvin Berridge bowling for the Premiers 11, 2 for 9, Quinton Boatswain 2 for 28, Jason Campbell, Terence Wade and Nelson Boland 1 wicket each. Premiers 11, 126 for 6 in 20 overs, Adelvin Phillip 39, Terence Ward 29, Mikhail Louis 24. Jason Mohammed bowling for the Patriots 2 for 1, Azari Joseph 2 for 19, Akeem Jordan and Dominic Drakes 1 wicket each. Still in cricket, those hoping to see all-rounder Jason Holder bat higher in the order could have their wish as West Indies host India at Sabina Park in the second test, which started today. Holder, the West Indies skipper, has been one of the team's most consistent batsmen over the past 2 years. He averages 33.27 in tests, many times batting as low as 8. In more cricket news, the West Indies Under-19 Rising Stars continue their preparation for the ICC Under-19 World Cup in South Africa in January 2020 with a 10-day camp in Antigua from September 13th to the 23rd. In football, Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain have reached an agreement on the value of Neymar as a deal edges closer. Both value for the Brazilian at 200 million euros, but to pay less, Barca have offered defender Jean-Claude Todibo and midfielder Ivan Rakitic, plus forward Ousmane Dembele on a season-long loan. That's it for sports. The weather is next. Welcome back to weather. Tonight will continue to be partly cloudy to cloudy with a moderate chance of mainly light showers. The weather tomorrow will be partly sunny to cloudy with a 40% chance of showers. The winds are easterly at 7 to 19 kilometers per hour. The seas are 0.6 to 1 meter, and the sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:57 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 30th August 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, National Assembly Elections Amendment Bill is one of 7 bills to be presented in the National Assembly on September 3rd, and church leaders receive instruments to serve as school chaplains for upcoming school year. Regionally, Dominica's Prime Minister promises report on CBI funds. Opposition leader calls for forensic investigation. Internationally, U.S. hospital force Catholic nurse to assist with abortion, And in sports, SKM Patriots beat Premier 11 by 1-1 in practice match on Thursday. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Jarvis Brown wishing you a safe and enjoyable weekend.